In today's tutorial, let's do this amazing looking market bag, and I'm going to take some of the mystery out of this pattern right after this. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. In today's tutorial we're going to work on this most amazing bag. In today's pattern I am going to be changing the directions just slightly, and you should know that by me changing the directions just slightly does not make this my own pattern. This makes it an adaptation based on an existing design by yarnspirations.com. My design changes are just going to make it a little bit easier for you to be able to follow, and I'm going to be showing you this particular pattern more up close. You should also know in this original design I actually contacted yarnspirations.com, the help desk, and asked for clarification on this pattern, and it turns out that many people have emailed in and phoned in about this particular pattern. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you're looking at here, because even myself I was confused, and I think that if we can go through this step by step it'll make it a lot easier for you to follow. So let's go through the photograph that you see here. So for example, when we go to start this, we're going to be starting off with doing single crochet rows, and we're going to be going from here all the way to here, and we're going to do a total of 4 rows in a row before we get to this all lacy work. Now this is what's interesting about this particular pattern, is that I was really confused because I can see that there's single crochet over here, and I can be sure that it's probably on the other side, and there's single crochet on the other side. So when I did this, what happens is that this row is so tight that the lattice work balloons out and just makes it explode like a mushroom at the bottom of the bag, and we're going to get bigger and bigger as this lattice work just increases in size. The stitches do not increase, but what in fact, because it's so lacy, it just wants to bulge out on its own. Let me show you a different point of view that will help you also see this. So here's my really rough diagram of what's going on in this pattern. So we're going to start off and we're going to do our single crochet lines, and what's going to happen here is that there's going to be a big ballooning out. So it's going to start off really narrow, and then it's just going to explode off in this direction. And what's going to happen is that it's going to explode, but on the other side we're going to bring it back to being narrow again, so you'll have what appears to be a really interesting effect. Then we're going to come and do the sides in this way. So what's happening here is that because it's ballooning out, and the way that we're going to do the end and the sides, it makes it bubble down just like this. And so when you look at this bag, what's happening is that the lattice work opens up so much that the tops here is so narrow that it balloons out toward the bottom. And if you can look at it from a perspective of like this, it makes it a lot easier. So as I mentioned, we're going to be starting off in the front. We're going to do the lattice front and then come all the way to the other side. So we're going to start here, do the lattice work, and then bring it back to single crochet, and then we're going to go to the sides, and then we're going to do this, and it's going to create this look, and it's going to create it to bubble down just like this, and then we're going to do the handles. So let me show you a little bit more before you get started on this project. So if I turn the bag upside down, this is a more accurate way to look at this bag in my opinion. So we're going to start off and we're going to do the single crochets back and forth, and then we're going to get to this lattice work. And now the lattice work, all it is, it's trebles, and we're going to create a V formations. And when you look at the rest of this, which I'll have in another diagram, you will see that it's this that's creating this length, which is going to cause it to explode to be bigger. The stitch counts do not change down here, and when you see it all being worked together, so even though you're seeing chaining of 5, it's just causing it to balloon, but at the end of it you're gonna see how we're gonna bring it back without really any difficulties. Now I do have another chart diagram to show you. So here's my next diagram. I'm going to provide these diagrams available on the crochetcrowd.com for this particular pattern, so that you can download these if you wish. I seriously recommend downloading at least this one, at least, because I tell you I actually frogged most of my bag because I was losing my weight on the edge. And I'm going to show you a secret on how I maintain my edge, because when you start coming out and this starts ballooning, what happens is it causes it to look like a half moon, and then you get confused on where the edges are. The first time I went through it, honestly, I end up growing more and more stitches outward when I was supposed to be continuing up in a straight line. So what I've done is that I've labeled myself to have blue and fuchsia on both sides. And let me show you what I did with that in order to keep myself in balance. So here's my sample, the way that I started, and you can see the lattice work causes it to balloon out, and because it does that you lose your point of perspective on the edges. So what I decided to do for myself is that I wrote on the diagram that I showed you, is that when I did blue and then the other side is fuchsia. So the other side I marked it with fuchsia lines, and this side I marked it with blue. So every time I was starting here going in this direction, because that's the way we're gonna do it, I marked the one stitch where this comes into with a blue stitch marker so that I know exactly where the ending is every time I come back here. Then when I get all the way to the other side, I then go up with the fuchsia and then I mark the top of this one here with the fuchsia string on the other side to show me where that is, because when I have it marked up here, when I come across back with the blue, I know that this fuchsia mark is my ending. Honestly, I was adding extra stitches because sometimes at the end I would not think it was the end and I would do another V shape and I was getting a really wonky edges when in fact it should be straight. Now when it's ballooning out like this, you really don't see it being straight, but it truly is. And if you mark each side with the stitch like I'm about to show you in today's tutorial, you will find that it'll work out really well. So don't be cheap on this yarn for these stitch markers. They will really help you and you can speed across really quickly by doing so. So enough of the chitter chatter, let's get going. So you're gonna need a 5mm size H crochet hook today. You are gonna need about 4 balls of the Lily Sugar and Cream. Get a little bit of extra for you just in case that you are a loose crocheter because you'll use up more yarn. This is the color that is in the original bag. It's just the ink that makes it look like a different color. Of course the creativity is up to you on what colors you decide. So let's test you and see how well you can do this bag. So let's get started on today's pattern. I'm just gonna start off with a slip knot and we're gonna start off very similar to, well, exactly the way the other bag starts, and we're going to do a total of chaining of 39. So I won't do the whole 39 with you, but just simply chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Go all the way to 39 for me and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So now that I have my 39 done, I'm going to start off with row number 1. Second chain from the hook. Just count back 1 and 2. This would be an intermediate level, I believe, project, so you should be familiar with crochet. Second chain from the hook and I want you to single crochet yourself all the way across your chain. So it's just a matter of single crocheting, and please do that all the way across your chain, and I'll see you back at the other side and we'll turn and we'll do rows number 2, 3 and 4 together. I'm coming up all the way to the end. I just got a couple more chains left and I'm done row number 1. So rows 2, 3 and 4 are identical to each other. They're just one single crochet. Let me get this last one in. I'm all thumbs today. So there it is, and so we're gonna turn our work. Now rows 2, 3 and 4 are identical, so to start those rows just chain up 1 and then just 1 single crochet into each going all the way. So what I want you to do is that I want you to do rows number 2, 3 and 4 all single crochets, and then come back here and we'll begin to start setting ourselves up to do the lattice work, and I'm gonna show you in more detail exactly what we're gonna be up to. So just single crochet for rows number 2, 3 and 4. So I'm coming up to the end of row number 4. So now it looks like a regular kind of a square idea, and that's perfect because it's exactly what we want. But now we're gonna change the game. We're gonna add some lattice work, and this is when it's a game changer. So let's turn our work and let's lay it down, and I'm gonna show you the diagram once again. So here's the diagram once again, and you're gonna notice that we have single crochets, and these represent the single crochets that are in the line. There's obviously it's a bigger line than this. This is a cross section, a kind of a short version of it, but you just got to think it's a little bit longer. So we're gonna start up by chaining 7. So 5 will go up and then 3 will go over. That's how I've done it. And then the first one is gonna be, we're gonna do 2 together trebles. The one is gonna come to the starting and the other one is gonna skip 1 and go the second over. We're then gonna chain 5 and the first one is gonna come back to catch this one, and the other one is gonna skip 1 and come over. And what you're doing is you're creating like this lattice work. So when you look at it from this perspective here, you are creating what appears to be monkey bars. You remember those domes that you would see in a playground? So that's what we're creating here. So what happens is that when you chain over, for example, you chain over 5, you're actually going middle way, and then you have to come back with the 2 trebles together. Okay, so one comes back and reaches over it, and the other one goes over and comes back to a center point. Then you chain 5, one comes slightly back and the other one goes slightly forward. So we're gonna do that all the way across, and at the very end we're gonna chain 3 and 1 treble into the final single crochet. So this is actually very, very similar to row number 3, which is existing here. And if you look at it here, this blue one here, this is like very similar to it. The only difference is that next time, instead of coming in every other stitch like this, what happens is that it's gonna be after the chain 5. So this chain 5 is gonna cause it to explode, but it doesn't change the number of these kind of monkey bars that you see there. So let's start off with row number 1. This is slightly different from the original pattern from Yarnspirations, and this is where I've kind of gone on my own, and then this whole section here is the same as Yarnspirations, and then we finished off this slightly different. You're gonna see what I'm talking about for ballooning right after this. Before I begin, sorry, I just want to share one more thing. So I had blue here and I had fuchsia here. So what even though this is a representation of what's inside and not truly this at this particular moment, it's very much the same. So what I want to do is that as I chain up my 7 in the 5th one, I'm gonna put a blue stitch marker in so I know where that is next time I see it, and I'm going to get all the way to the end and then move up. So when we go to start this particular diagram, the blue here is actually the first one, and then the fuchsia, which is the next row, is here. Okay, so I want to show you how I'm doing that with the stitch marker because you'll never lose your edge otherwise. So let's begin. We're gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pinch it there for 5. It'll just save you some time. And the 6, 7, and 8. Let go of the stitch, and right where I pinched is the number 5 one, and I want to grab my stitch marker, just fold it in half. This is just odds and sods of yarn, just save you some money, and just pull through the 5th one and just kind of like pull it through so that it's just kind of dangling there and kind of locked in, so it's not gonna fall out on you. So you know the next time you come here, and let me pull that other diagram back up. So the next time you come up here, you're gonna see that this stitch marker is right in the corner here, so that when you are working on this and you get the other diagram here, every time you get to the 5th one here, you know the next one is going to land right directly over top of that. Do you see that? So when you come into here, you'll mark this one here, and you know the next one that's gonna finish will be right over top. It is very easy for this particular lattice work to get confused at the end to add on extra stitches, and you'll go all wonky. This just saves you a ton of time and a lot of aggravation. Let's continue. So coming back to this, what we want to do is 2 together trebles, and we're gonna wrap. So I'm gonna hold this down with my finger. It prevents it from spinning loosely around because it can spin loosely. So I just kind of pinch, and then I go down to the very first one where the chain is coming out of. I pull through 2 and 2. Do not finish it, hold it. So then I want you to skip 1 stitch and treble into the next one. So we wrap the hook, see how I'm just kind of pinching, and go into the second one over and treble. Okay, so now I got 3 on my hook, so now I want to pull through all 3, and that finishes that stitch. So you can see here, one is just slightly come back and the other one slightly move forward. So let's begin the next one. So we're gonna chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now this one here, whenever we do this, remember, like the monkey bars, the first one has to go where this one finished. So just wrap the hook, and it's together trebles. So pull through 2 and 2. Do not finish it. Shift over, so skip 1, go to the second, and treble again as a together. You have 3 on your hook now. Pull through all 3, and that concludes off another one. Do you see how it's gonna balloon at this point? See how this is much wider? Therefore it's gonna really start to balloon on you. So chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, come to the one that you've already been into, and it's together trebles. Don't finish that stitch though, and then just wrap it again, skip 1, and go to the second over, and then finish it this time so that you got 3 loops on the hook. Do you get that? So it's exactly what you're seeing in the pattern. See how they're kind of linked together that way? So you have this chain 1 space, or so you have a stitch space in the middle. So let's just review one more time. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then treble, so come into the one that you were already in, pull through 2 and hold, don't finish it, wrap again, skip 1 stitch, and go to the second over. So this is a way of establishing the lattice work, and you're gonna go all the way across. You can see it's already starting to balloon. See how it's just opening up like a semicircle? It does that, and that's what it's meant to do. So what I want you to do at this point is that I want you to continue all the way across this line. This is row number 1, and then after this there's gonna be a repeat of row 2 and 3 for the remainder until we get to the 20 inches that we need. Before then we start bringing it to conclusion on the other side. So finish this row first, and then we'll review row number 2 and 3. So as we get all the way across, you're going to notice that there's one treble that's standing by itself. It's in its own stitch. So you're going to notice when you get to the end of the row there's going to be one stitch left, and this comes into that one stitch. So we're going to do the 2 together, and then we need to chain 3 and then put the treble in to maintain this vertical line going up in the pattern. So this is very much like the blue one, and if you looked at the original pattern that I had over here, do you see? You finished one early, and then the final one is in a single crochet. So let's begin to do the next row, or let's finish this row first and then move along. So I'm near the end, and this is what I mean by ballooning. So see how it's kind of leaning? So you're thinking to yourself, okay, well this looks like it's a straight line, but technically it's not. And this is where I got really confused, and this is why I had to frog most of my project back out. So now that I got one stitch left, I have to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then I treble into the final stitch. And that concludes this row number 1, and this is very similar to the blue, which I put in a stitch marker on the other side before I started so that I could keep in balance. You will notice that it looks like it can be a semicircle at this point. This is the ballooning starting to happen. So this is the top rim of the bag, and then it's gonna balloon out underneath. Let's move along to the next row, and let's pull up the diagram once again. So now that I finished this blue line, which is the same as the original that we started with, okay? So just pretend it's the blue line now and just move to this diagram. So we're right over here. So we're gonna chain up 5 to begin, and then we're gonna reach down and treble into the first crossing point here. Okay? And then you're going to chain 5 and then do the together once again to do the crisscross all the way across to the end. So this time when you finish a fuchsia line, you're going to get right to the end, and the last 2 will be together. So it's gonna reach over to the crossing point, and it's gonna reach down to where the stitch marker is that was marked with blue. So as I start up this one here, I'm going to put in a fuchsia crochet marker right here, so that when I get across with the blue that comes back across, I'm just gonna know that this is my ending here instead of adding extra stitches at the end. I'm telling you, it'll save your life. Well, I don't know if it's that good, but it really saved me from a lot of frustration. So let's begin the next round. So I have my fuchsia string just handy with me, and I'm going to chain up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Technically this is where I want the stitch marker, but I can't place it in yet. So I'm gonna do the first reaching over to the crossing point like it shows in the diagram, and it's a treble, and just go right into the crossing point. See how these 2 came together? Just go right into the top, pull through, and you want to finish the stitch. Okay, so this is the flat edge coming up. This one is reaching over. You just really can't see it. This is where you can get all screwed up, and what I want you to do is just right under here, I want you to place that stitch marker to represent. And every time I went across in this row, I added more and more stitch markers up the side of it so that I always knew exactly where I was without any questions. Okay, so now the remainder of this row is very similar to what we're about to do, what we've already done. So we're gonna do the chaining of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go back to the crossing point for a treble. It's 2 together as always. Don't finish that stitch, and then the next one is the treble into the next crossing point. Okay, and it's just exactly what you did before. The difference is that you're not worrying about these single crochets anymore. You're just worrying about these crossing points. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Go into the first crossing point that you were just at for the first one, and then don't finish that stitch, and then wrap the hook twice, and then go to the next crossing point. So remember what I said with the whole chaining of 5 element to it. The chaining of 5 gets you halfway across, or gets you halfway across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you look at it from this perspective, it's over. So you have to go back to the one that you were just at, the crossing point. do not finish that stitch, and then wrap the hook a second time and go into the next crossing point. Okay, and then bring it all together. You get that? Does that make sense? So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so go into the last crossing point you were just at. Don't finish that stitch, and then wrap the hook twice and go into the next crossing point. And you're gonna do that until you get close to the very end, and I'll meet you at the end of the row, and then you can really start seeing this thing come together. If at any one point when you go into a crossing point and there's not 2 stitches coming together, like 2 trebles coming together, something is wrong. You have to frog. So if you ever get to a point where there's a crossing point and only see 1 stitch coming out, it means that you missed the other side. I've done it once or twice, I think maybe 3 times. So it does happen, so you're better to frog because you can't recover from that. Okay, so just go all the way across like you already know it's 2 together trebles, just reaching across to do the monkey bar kind of lattice work that you see, and I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm getting near to the end of the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I already know that, but the blue is helping me also to determine that of where that last stitch is that it's gonna go into, and that's why I've done it this way, so that I gotta reach over. So the blue is really close to me at this point, and I'm just gonna finish this. So if you look at the chart, let's see where the blue is, and let's see how we're gonna finish this row. So we're coming up to the end of the blue. Okay, so the blue is sitting right here, and so you'll notice here we're actually right here. So what we have to do is that we have to chain 5, go back to the last crossing, and then we go straight down into where the blue has been marked in order to create that. Okay, so these 2 come in together like that. So just it gives you a good indication. Without doing this with the stitch marker, I'm telling you I had really funky edges, but I don't know how many times I've already said that before. It's so true though, it really is. So let's finish off this row. So we're gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I wrap the hook twice, and I'm gonna go back to the last crossing point, but I don't finish it, and then this time I wrap twice and they go straight down to where the stitch marker is, and that indicates to me where the last stitch is. Okay, and then you pull through all 3 together. So now I'm officially done. Okay, so before I was going all wonky with that. So I'm ready now. This is my fuchsia going all the way across. Okay, so I have it marked on this side. So now when I turn it, because I'm on the blue side, I know that I'm gonna start with the blue side once again as I go all the way up. So let's do the blue side once again. This time the blue that we're doing is not going into single crochets, so I'll show you exactly what we're gonna do with this one. So this is row number 3. So you're gonna repeat row number 2 and 3 until you get to the designated dimensions that I'll talk about in a bit. So I'm bringing back my diagram. So I've just got my fuchsia, I've come all the way across, and here's where I am. So when I start my blue again, just like I did before, it's chain 7. I'm gonna mark that 5th one in with a stitch marker, and then I'm gonna come back and do my together, and then just do the exact same thing at the end. And again at the end it's just like before, where we come across and then chain 3 and then a treble all the way down, and this is coming down into the position where the fuchsia has been marked on the project. Let's begin row number 3. So row number 3 is the blue, so it's gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pinch it at 5, 6, and 7. And what I want you to do is that at the 5th mark is that I want you to slip in your hook and get that stitch marker in, so that you know where that ending is gonna be next time you get back to this point. Right there. Okay, so now let's begin. So the first one is gonna be at the crossing point right where we started. So we're gonna wrap the hook and come in, and we don't finish that. The other one together is gonna be to the next crossing point that you can just pull over and see. Okay, so now you're gonna go across just like you did before. So basically the rows number 2 and 3, the only difference is that how they start is different, and that should make a lot of sense to you because the lattice work is not uniform in the sense that every row is exactly the same. They're shifting, and if you look at it from a hexagon point of view or a pentagon point of view, you can actually see that. So actually it's more of a pentagon, or a hexagon, so it's flat, there's 6 flat sides. So let's begin. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back to where the last one was that you put in, okay, at the crossing point, and then finish it off by reaching over to the next crossing point to finish those off. So chain 3s or chain 5s, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come to the first crossing point that you already were at, and then wrap again and go to the next one that's available to you and reach over and then finish it off. So that's what I want you to do all the way across. You already know how to do this, so please do this. This is row number 3. So I'm coming up to the near to the end, and I'm on the blue, and I have my fuchsia in here, and let's just take a look back at the chart and see what's going on. So in row number 3 we're just coming back across here. So what's happened, if you've noticed, so the last one has to then go into the very last one. This is where the fuchsia is marked, and then so these two are together, and then we're gonna chain 3 and then treble right down into where the fuchsia is marked as well. So let's bring back our project and finish this row. So coming back all the way across, so I have my fuchsia here. I can see that I'm gonna have to do a crossover. So chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have to do it together, and the second one is going to be right to where the fuchsia is. That's the very last stitch. This will happen every time you're on the blue line, which is round number 3. So you got that together, and then to finish this, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which is a partial kind of a triangle, and then treble right down to where the fuchsia is marked once again. So every time you're finishing round number 3, this is exactly where you're finishing, just like you see. So now when we go to turn our work, just like so, I'm ready, and fuchsia then will become my next color up, which would be row number 2. So I'm gonna leave the rest of this to you as far as this area, and you have to repeat round number 2 or rows number 2 and 3 over and over until you get 20 inches from this point here until the other side. So it's gonna be a long, massive distance, and I'm just gonna review the chart one last time before I let you do that. So we're ready for the fuchsia here, and you can see it's right here. So we've just come across with the blue, and then we're back here again. So it's just, I just did a longer way of this just to give you an indication that it's just a repeat pattern over and over. But when I really did it myself, I was just looking at the basically blue or fuchsia so 2 or 3 in order to do it. So I need you to repeat rows number 2 and 3 just continuous until you get your 20 inches in, and your line should be horizontal like this. It doesn't always look that way, but if you're marking it with the stitch markers on the end, it will be. And then we're gonna come bring this to a conclusion on the other side. So I have altered the other side of the pattern, so I want you to get to your 20 inches and then meet me back here in just a minute. So here I am, I've got my 20 inches done. Just so you know, this took a few hours of work in order to get it to this level, and I've got my stitch markers all labeled up on the one side here, so I knew I was doing okay, and then the other side. So when you look at it here, you can kind of see it's almost like a dress. So what I want you to do is that I want you to finish your 20 inches and get to your row number 3 is done. So this is row number 3 that you see here, and we're going to start doing a decrease, and this is a different instruction than that was available on the original. So let's turn our work and let's go on to the new section of what we need to do, and I'll explain why we're doing it this way instead of the other way. So in this row that we're about to do, what we have to do is we have to get back to the idea that there's one stitch left between these lattice work. So what we were doing the whole time is that we were doing this and putting in a chain 5. Well, this time we only have to chain 1 when we're going to separate these things, so that when we come in the next round or row after that, we can have a nice conclusion and both sides of the bag look equal. So let's begin to do that. So what we're going to do on this round is that we're going to do it as if it is like the fuchsia, but instead this time we want to do a chain 1 in between instead of a chain 5. So let's begin, and this is just like the fuchsia round, so this is like number 2, but this is a variation of it. So let's begin. We're gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this time what we want to do is that we want to wrap the hook twice, and we want to go to the crossing point and pull through. Okay, and we're going to finish that, or sorry, then going to finish that completely. Okay, and what I would do is put your fuchsia stitch marker in there. You've done them all this way, you might as well finish that off so you know exactly where you are. And now what I want you to do, instead of chaining 5 to begin the next one, we're only going to chain 1. Okay, and it will make sense just in the next row, and we want to begin to do the trebles together. So wrap, come into the same one that you were just at. Oops, excuse me, I dropped my stitch. So wrap it and then come into the same one you were just at, and then wrap it again and go to the next one, and then pull them together. Okay, and then you're going to only chain 1 and then begin again. So wrap the hook, come into the one you were just at, and then wrap the hook again and come into the next one, just like that. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna make it nice and narrow back at the top, so then when you do your single crochets again, it'll be ready for it and it'll be great. So continue to do that all the way across. So I'm coming up all the way across, so you're gonna notice here it's starting to buckle back inward to create that nice edge that you wanted. Remember the length that we had when we started? So this is gonna create it to kind of semicircle in the other direction, which causes the ballooning shape. So I'm coming up near the end, and it's just like I'm finishing off the fuchsia line. So instead of chaining 5, I'm only chaining 1, and I'm going into the same one that I was just at, and then I reach over to the blue like so, just like that, and it's just like ending in the fuchsia. I just pull through all 3 and I'm done. Okay, so you can see then the difference is that it's not as wide, and it's just like when we started over here. See how it was not as wide on the end? So you see it's very much equal. So let's begin, and we're gonna do 4 rows of single crochet, and let me show you what to do with those, and that's gonna be beginning the other side of the edge. So let's turn our work to begin, and let's begin. So let's begin row number 1 of doing the banding, and then the other 2, 3, and 4 are identical to just single crocheting across. So let's chain up 1, and we're gonna come into the same stitch we were just in and single crochet, and in the chain 1 spaces I want you to put only 1 single crochet, and then in the next one with they're coming together, just put 1 into that one. So this whole row is 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space and 1 single crochet to where they've come together in the trebles there. So please do that all the way across. You're gonna notice that it's gonna pull everything nice together just perfectly. So just a single crochet, 1 in each of where the trebles are coming, and 1 in each of the chain 1 spaces. So I've come up all the way across, and now I'm back to my chaining of 38. Remember how we started off in chain 39 and then we went second chain from the hook? Well, that meant that there was 38 single crochets, and now that I have that. So now that I look at this point and I bring up the other one, you should see that they're pretty close to the same, because it's the same amount of stitch. Now because I haven't done a few more rows, it hasn't pulled together quite as tight as it did in the original, and that's because I have to do a few more rows. So I need you to turn your work, and I want you to do rows number 2, 3, and 4, just chaining up 1 again like you'd already done before, and then 1 single crochet into each going all the way across. So please do this for row number 2, 3, and 4. When we come back, then we're gonna move along, and we're gonna just investigate this a little further, and then we're gonna start doing handle work and sides all at the same time, and we'll begin to do that next. So I came up all the way to the end of this, and now I'm gonna fasten this off because we're gonna do the handle. Now the handle is slightly different from what the original pattern is. I'm going to do the handle as a 1-piece unit, and I got a really cool effect to show you, and it will save you time as well instead of having to sew. So I'm just sewing in my final string. I'm just getting it underneath the stitches. Remember that when you put in your strings, if you go in 3 different directions, it actually will hide the work a lot better, and it will hide your loose ends a lot better, and it will not fall out as well. Okay, so in and out 3 times, and I do that with all of my tails and all of my projects as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the original, and I had the string that I started off with. Okay, this is where I was, and I'm gonna put this on, And we're gonna then start working on the sides, and I'm gonna go through the steps just verbally with you, and then we're gonna go through steps and physically actually do the work. So let me hide in my loose ends here. So at this point what you're looking at is the front and the back of the bag, and then we're gonna do the sides in just a moment. So I will be right back, and I'll pull up the diagram. Well, actually I'm gonna pull up the photo, show you what my game plan is, and then I need you to also pull out all of your stitch markers that are in the side on both sides. Let's pull all those out next, and when we come back we'll get started on doing the sides and the handles. So we're now ready to do the sides of the bag, and we have the top and we have the bottom. Okay, so this is front and the back. So if you were to put it up like this, you can see that the shape is almost there, but it's not quite there yet. Okay, so what we have to do is that we have to bring up the sides. So we're gonna start on one side, and then we're gonna work our way across, and then chain extra and jump to the other side, and then come all the way down the other side, and then chain and then jump back. And what's gonna happen on this particular pattern, the way that I've designed the handle, and again this is not my own pattern, it's an adaptation, we're just gonna work our way, we're gonna go down the side of the bag and then chain up and go across the top, and then down the other side, coming up and then coming back across. So we're just gonna go up and around. So the backs and the front, I'm going to leave this alone here and just kind of going up in a sweeping motion all in one particular rotation. Therefore you do not have to sew at this particular point like it suggests, and again this is completely optional. So let me show you what to do. So bring in the same color yarn, that's kind of what I want, and I want to start off in the corner of it can be the front or the back, it doesn't matter, and you can just start off in the corner. Now there's 4 rows here, so therefore there's gonna be 4 single crochets because you're working down the side of the bag. Okay, so we were working this way, now we're gonna work down the side. So let's just join this yarn, chain 1, and then single crochet into that same one. And what I want to do is I want to hide this loose end in, so I just want to bury it underneath the stitches. So I have 3 more to go on this to satisfy it, so just single crochet across, working down the sides of the single crochet. So here's what we're gonna do different on this particular formation. So you will see that there's gapping spaces. Okay, so you see this, and then you see a center post, and then another gapping space, and then they're crossing, and then there's a gap space and gap space. We want to work in these gap spaces. So what we need to do is that we need to bring these together so it kind of looks similar to this, but we need to bring it so that it looks really quite cool. So in the first gapping space I want you to only put 1 single crochet. That's it. The next one I want you to put 2 single crochets. So just jump all the way over, and you're gonna notice it's gonna start pulling everything together. So the next one is gonna be 1 single crochet, the gap space. The next gap space there's gonna be 2, and I need you to do that until you get to the other side of this thing, to the bag. So there's gonna be 1 in the next, go to the next gap space, there's gonna be 2. And this was one of the reasons why it's so important that you keep an eye on those edges as you were going across, because you know you're gonna have a nice smooth edge when you're done. So the next one is gonna be 1 single crochet, the next one is gonna be 2. Okay, and it's 1, and the next one is 2. So did you notice I didn't say to put any specific number? I want you to do it this way because you may have different tension than me, and so this will keep it in balance for you. So 1, and then jumping to the next one for 2, and then 1, and then the next one is 2, and then 1, next one is 2, next one is 1, and I want you to keep going all that until you hit that other single crochet line that's coming up. So that was 1, this one's 2, so 1. Even if you get an extra one in there, it's not going to be a deal breaker by any stretch. As long as you're consistent, that's all that you have to matter. So 1, and then this one's 2. So we're now run into the side of the single crochet. Remember there's 4 rows there, so there's only going to be 4 single crochets working its way up. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you're not done. Okay, so you've just come all the way across. You can see that it just made the semicircle. It's kind of like the buckling look, and now we're ready now to make a chain handle. So we have to do a chain and then extend over to the other side of where this is. So we're gonna do a chain of 60. So let's do that. So we just immediately start. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do all the way to 60, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So now that I have my 60 in, here is the handle, and it'll thicken up obviously as we go. So without twisting the chain, I'm gonna come to the next corner. So just come all the way across. So this is either the front or the back, it doesn't matter. You're gonna jump this one here and just come into the corner. And remember what it was 4 single crochets and going down the side of the double crochet. So please do that. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now just like you did before, so you're gonna do this, and the first chain space here will be 1 single crochet, the next one will be 2, and you're gonna do that all the way across on this one. So I don't think I need to follow you on that one. So just 1, and the next one has 2. So please do that all the way across to the other side, and I'll see you back there in just a moment. So I'm coming up on the other side, and this one ends in 2. So I'm back at the band. This is either front or the back, it doesn't matter which one it is. So it's just gonna be 4 single crochets going up the side of it. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And so now we're ready for the other side of the band. So here's the other side here. Okay, so we're gonna do this side here. So again, remember what it was chaining of 60. So please do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go all the way to 60 for me, and then we're gonna join it on the other side. So we'll just jump over all this and come to the other side where we've already started and to do the single crochets all the way around. So I now have my chaining of 60, and this is the other side of the handle, and I'm coming back to the other side. So this is either front or the back, it doesn't matter which one it is, but this is where I started to do the single crochet. So just insert your hook into the first single crochet and just do a slip stitch to join it as you've gone all the way around. So at this point you should have appearing to have 2 handles just like you see here, and now we have to thicken it up, and you can see it's really starting to take its shape. So you only have 3 rounds left to go. So what I want you to do is chain up 1, and we're gonna put 1 single crochet into each one of the single crochets all the way around, so you don't have to worry about skipping any gap spaces anymore. You're just gonna go all the way around like that. Now when you hit to the handle, so let's follow it around. So say a single crochet around, I'm gonna hit the handle, you're gonna put 1 single crochet in each of the chains and continue all the way around till you get back to this spot. So I need you to do 3 rounds exactly what I just showed you, and it's gonna be amazing. So remember that. So I'm coming up all the way back around in my first rotation. Make sure that you do not twist these handles so that when it follows around that it's not having any kind of weird twists on you. And then when you come back all around, you just want to come into your very last stitch for a single crochet, and then just join it to the beginning single crochet that you started with. So now what I need you to do is 3 more rounds of just single crochet right around, and so you'll notice that the handles are more thicker this time that we did it, and I want you to go around 3 more times, just starting up with just chain up 1 single crochet into each single crochet all the way around. Please do that for 3 revolutions. When we come back I will have all 3 done, and we can see exactly what it looks like. I'm now just coming around the end of finishing up my whole bag here, just the last stitch here. It's really kind of a cool idea. was really excited about this bag. It was different from others that I had seen, and when I go to finish off I just want to make sure that I do a good job of hiding in the loose end or the ends. So I'm just gonna cut it about 12 inches long and pull through the loop, and then just grab a darting needle. I want to be able to weave this in and out. Remember what I said before if you were watching, is that if you weave it in and out 3 times underneath the stitches, it will never fall out on you. So just going in, just go in a different path but in the same direction for number 2. Again, different path but in the other direction for number 3, and then you can safely trim that out because it'll never be able to stretch in 3 different directions at the same time to fall out on you. So that concludes making this bag, and this is a really kind of a neat concept. You'll see that the bag stays completely open like this, so therefore you can get your fruits and vegetables inside your bag, and then it will buckle out when you go to use it. So really quite excited about this bag. I noticed that a lot of other tote bags that I do, it's really hard to get sometimes the fruits and vegetables in, so this kind of opens up, and when you lift it, it will nicely close on you. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. Enjoy and have a great day, and hopefully you will enjoy your new market bag. Until then, we'll see you. Bye bye.